Theorizing that one could travel within his own lifetime, Dr. Sam Becket stepped into the quantum leap accelerator and vanished. He woke to find himself trapped in the past, facing mirror images that were not his own, driven by an unknown force to change history for the better. His only guide on this journey is Al, an observer from his own time, who appears in the form of a hologram that only Sam can see and hear. And so Dr. Becket finds himself leaping from life to life, striving to put right what once went wrong, and hoping each time that his next leap will be the leap home.
The Fantasmagorium show proudly presents In the Loop, a Quantum Leap celebration. I am Scotty R37. Antiderivative Jill is here, and Steve is somewhere calculating the odds on how Ziggy gets us out of here. This week we have 2 episodes, and I am super jazzed for both of them. In the first one, Sam is leaped into a Melvin, and he is a coroner. And in the second one, he is leapt into a pool shark, and he is magic. No, there's no magic. That is just his name. How are you doing, Jill?
I'm doing really great. I really love the first episode. It's a whodunit mystery. It's a little bit sad because we're not saving somebody. We're figuring out why they were lost. But at the same time, it's really neat to get a different kind of format for the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is okay. Go ahead.
No. And please go ahead.
Well, the second one has all the makings of like a sports episode, except it's pool, so it's more fun.
Yes. Now, the fun thing about the second one, Pool Hall Blues, is I'm pretty sure this is the first episode of Quantum Leap that I ever saw.
Oh, really? That is a momentous occasion. I don't even know what my first episode even was.
I think
take note of it.
This is the first one that I saw. I loved the music in it, and it is the episode that made me start being a pool hall junkie. Because,
really?
Yes, so the shot, and I'll tell you when we get there, but there are parts of this that I'm just like, I want to know how to do that. And so whenever I went to a pool hall, there is a shot that I practiced, and I can pretty much do it every time now.
I can guess which one it is, but yeah, let's wait for sure because we gotta figure out who killed the lady first.
We do have to find out about the murder, the German murder.
Yes,
and there are incredible guest stars that I am super jazzed to pointing out. I know we had a brief conversation before we went live, and the downside is that I knew about Desperate Housewives and you did not. So
that's right. I have no idea about any of it.
I feel like I have to trade in my man card.
Well, no, that's okay. Well, I just don't watch a lot of TV in general, so you just know a whole lot more about pop culture in general than I do. So that's
I did have to look it up. But I was like, I know who that. But there is a bigger guest star. There is definitely someone.
Yes. Someone that everybody should know. If they're watching this channel, they know.
If you know Jill, you know the actor.
You know who's in this.
Before we get to Melvin, I just want to say hello to the people in the chat. PvP is here. Ahoy, PvP. These are great ones tonight. Yes, agreed. Absolutely. Super excited to talk about them with Jill. Is this the first time seeing both of these, or is this are these reruns for you?
I didn't remember them, so they're new to me.
Okay, perfect. And then Yep, PvP has just finished watching them, and he's having a quick dinner. Dalek451 is here. Hello, Dalek. How are you doing in the wee small hours of the morning where you are on Scaro?
Hey,
And
Dalek.
Edge of Time is here. Hello. And hail.
I remember the one time Edge of Time was Edgy of Time.
Was he Edgy of Time?
Just like for like a week.
Oh, nice. Nice. PvP says, I have to say Jill's opening narration is more fun than the show's.
Wow, that's a great compliment. Thank you, PvP.
And I agree. When you first recorded it, I was like, well, that's got to be the intro. Like, that's perfect.
That was my first take, too.
And of course. And PvP, I think we're going to go through an episode, and then when we get to Pool Hall Blues, depending on how we barrel on through, I may send you an email. It depends on how excited I get. I apologize, but it's a momentous occasion in terms of the Pool Hall Blues. So I might want to invite more people, or I might just want to share it and keep it all to myself. Oh, and PvP says, I think I have some thoughts that might add. Still eating, though. Okay, well, we'll give you a little bit, and we'll see what's going on. And Cam is here. Hello, Cam.
Oh, my God. Cam! It's so great to see you.
It is a pleasure. All right. So, shall we unravel, which is by far one of the most mysterious episodes of Quantum Leap that I think we've watched so far.
And it's a really good mystery.
Yes.
Good Night, Dear Heart first aired on March 7th, 1990. It was written by Paul Brown. He's written some episodes before. And he also wrote for The New Twilight Zone, X-Files, and Star Trek Voyager and Enterprise. And this one was directed by Christopher Welch. And Sam leaps into November 9th, 1957, and into the place of Melvin Spooner, who lives in Riven Rock, Massachusetts. And Melvin Spooner is our mortician.
Mortician/coroner. It's a small town of 2,000 people. Oh my. It's it's an interesting episode just based. Okay, so we leap in. Sam is there, and Lyle, the town sheriff, asks Melvin.
He's a chief of police.
Right. Chief of police.
Is he also the sheriff?
I don't, when it comes to American police forces, I'm not 100% sure. But basically asking Melvin what he thinks of that, of a locket. And Sam, not knowing what the heck is going on, says, well, it looks like a locket. And he flips it over and finds a German inscription.
You should have been a detective.
Well, and adding to the list of languages that Sam is familiar with, German is one of them. And on the back of the locket, it says, my love forever.
Oh, and one of the sources I looked at says that it actually translates to my love for eternity, but I will be right back. Sorry.
Absolutely. No, you're good as gold. And this is actually, it's quite appropriate that Jill will pop in and out throughout the episode, because Al is rather squeamish at the idea of Sam inhabiting the body of a coroner, because he gets the heebie-jeebies from their dead bodies. But there are also other things that go on. There are moments, and I'll probably end up recapping this when Jill comes back, but there are flashes of the victim in Sam's mind. And I thought that was going to go a little bit farther. It doesn't. It is, this one has more mysteries than I was anticipating, pardon me. And there are a couple of what would have been controversial moments throughout the episode. And when we get to the culmination of the whodunit, that were a little spicy for 1990s television. But we will get there when we get there. I do really enjoy the working relationship between Melvin and Lyle. They seem to be somewhat friendly, as Melvin does push back against Lyle in terms of determining that this wasn't a suicide, and it was a very strange idea. As oh, there we go. There's our title card for our. I want to talk to Jill about this, so I'll wait for her to be back, and when we see the first
I am here,
appearance. Okay, fair enough.
but I was just enjoying your
My riffing.
yes.
Fair
It's
enough.
nice.
But it seems that they have a fairly amicable working relationship. It is a small town, as I mentioned. It's only 2,000 people.
But that's still a lot of people to go through for Ziggy.
For Ziggy and Al, yeah, absolutely. But there he is, man of the hour, Tower of Power, Nicholas Locarno himself. You may like to call him Tom Paris, but I prefer Nick.
Well, he really shouldn't have been doing those maneuvers. They were very dangerous.
What is it? Is it the starboard, Culvert Starburst?
Yeah.
Yes. We should do an episode just all on Tom Paris and the ups and downs and whether or not he actually changed his name from Nicholas Locarno to Tom Paris. Actually, that's not a thing.
Well,
but Admiral Paris, so it doesn't count.
Well, I mean, Tom Paris is just so very close in character to Nick. It feels like it could be.
Well, I think that when they were, and I don't care, we're going to talk about Voyager for a second here. But I think that they wanted just to use Nicholas Locarno, but they couldn't because of the writing credit of the author of the first Duty.
Well, they could have, but they would have had to pay him for his character.
And I'm sure Pop Culture Curator and many people would be the first to say purse strings are tight when it comes to Star Trek productions.
Yes, he knows all about it.
He does. Well, and come on, the reuse of the bird of prey explosion between Star Trek 6 and Star Trek Generations, I think, is a well-lamented moment of Star Trek lore.
But in this episode,
right, back to Quantum Leap.
Hilla's boss, Roger Truesdale, and his son Greg arrived to identify her body because her family's dead from World War II. Did you talk about her family dying in the fire?
No.
Or fire riots or
the firebombing of Dresden.
Yes.
In fact, which is something that I learned about from the Kurt Vonnegut novel, Slaughterhouse-Five. Another time travel story where Billy Pilgrim gets unstuck in time. So I don't know if that's a nod from the episode, but it's definitely an interesting reference for a time travel story. Mm-hmm.
That is a good connection. I bet you maybe it is.
And let me see, what do we have here?
I didn't catch that.
PvP says Paul Brown won an award for this
That's
script.
Correct. He did win an award. That's lower in my notes here.
Okay.
Let me see. Okay, so Paul Brown won the 1991 Mystery Writers of America Edgar Allan Poe Award for Best Television Episode Teleplay.
And it is really good. And the mystery starts off, in my mind, even before we get to the identification of the body by Greg and Mr. Truesdale. You know how Sam gets the flashes of Hilly in his mind?
Yes. And were you thinking that maybe were you thinking about how the Leapy is sometimes part of Sam during the leap?
No. What I was thinking, and it was sort of shocking that it didn't come up again, because there's a moment where Al is near Sam and Sam has one of these sort of visions of Hilly. And Al reacts because, they're connected through the brains. That's how Sam is able to see Al. And I thought maybe Al would have seen that and it would have come up later, but it never comes up again. I guess he was just reacting to the body language of Sam.
That's a good point. Maybe it's just one way. Just Sam sees is connected to Al, but Al doesn't see no, you know what? Al sees what Sam is seeing, so he should be seeing the flashbacks too. That is a good point.
It was a curiosity of mine.
It was, and they didn't really explain why Sam was getting these flashbacks. And so I was thinking that since some of the leapy stays with Sam during the leap, that maybe what is his name?
Melvin.
Maybe Melvin knew her, but he never makes any indication that he did.
No,
So-
he even says to the groundskeeper at the cemetery at the end, he's asked, "Did you know her?" And he says,
and
"No."
he said no. Well, but that's Sam answering.
Right.
He doesn't have Melvin's actual memories.
True.
So that's a mystery that's never solved.
Well, and also okay, so let's identify this body. Let's see Hilly. And by the way, I'm just going to go and take a look and find out. I want to see what the name of the actress is who played Hilly.
Okay.
Simply because she does some great dead person acting.
Yeah, she's very still.
She is. She doesn't like there are moments where they put the locket on her, and usually there's a little flutter of something, like a person's neck will tense or the eyelids will sort of, you'll see something or you'll notice a little bit of breathing. Suzanne Tegman was the name of the actress who plays Hilly. But no, she is the picture of a corpse.
Yeah, and even with good editing, you could usually tell that somebody's still alive, but not with her. She did great.
Yeah, absolutely. So they head into the morgue, I suppose, and draw back the shroud. Is that what it's called when it's the blanket over the dead person?
Well, yes, and I will have plenty of shots of the corpse, but at this point, Greg is mourning, but his dad is claiming that he just has a weak stomach.
His mother's stomach.
Right, and he's obviously lying. Roger is very eager to pay for and bury Hilla, so this episode is very good at making you suspect everybody except for the person who it actually is.
Right. Yes. Which and we'll get to Marcia Cross when we do. And then so Sam says maybe there's something more. It looks like Greg actually loved Hilly, and then Lyle's like, dude, don't talk to Mr. Truesdale that way.
Yeah, you wouldn't be coroner if it weren't for him.
Well, and yes, and Sam does throw that back in Lyle's face a little bit later, but it's unwarranted. It's unjustified. And so Sam goes through her personal effects and sees her passport and recognizes that's when he finds out when her date of birth, which is, and this is perfect. There's Hilly, and this image from the episode is actually a memory that Sam has inexplicably.
Yes, nobody knows why, and the episode doesn't care to tell us why this is happening.
No.
It's really weird.
It is weird. It adds to the atmosphere, but we're not getting answers from anyone in this episode. This is 100% pure Sam Becket.
Mm-hmm. Then Hilla's friend Stephanie stops by. She grieves and she leaves distressed, refusing an offer by Sam to drive her home.
Yes. And also Sam getting some clues in regards to Hilly, because Stephanie says that Hilly is very meticulous with her clothing and takes very good care of them. I suppose that would be German efficiency.
Yes, she wants to take her things and clean them.
Yes.
I will be right back, but I'll leave you with the mirror reveal.
There we go. And this is Melvin, our coroner. We actually get to see a lot of Melvin, but in regards, I have absolutely no problem with discussing this with the chat and PvP, who asks, the actress was great in a tiny role. Did she do other stuff? Are you referring to Hilly? If you are referring to Hilly, I do not know. But in terms of Stephanie is Marcia Cross, who is probably best known as being on the primetime soap opera Desperate Housewives. And so, yes, my man card is being examined because I came up with that and I was like, oh, I should have known. Marcia Cross, Desperate Housewives, of course. Let's see. Suzanne Tegman as Hilly Danner. She, it does not look like she was in much. Several films that do not rate much higher than a 5. She was in Death Chase in 1988, Man Killers in 1987, and Terror in Beverly Hills in 1989. But it seems that she stopped acting in 1992. But that is all I have for Suzanne Tegman. I don't even have a date of birth or an image.
Which
from
character is
IMDb.
Suzanne Tegman? Is that Stephanie?
No, that's Hilly.
That's Hilly. Oh,
yes.
Okay, great.
Marcia Cross is Stephanie.
Okay. Oh, right.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. That's what I get for stepping away. Now I know.
And then we get the reveal of Al as he walks out of a coffin.
Yes.
And he sort of scurries out of it, and he's got the heebie-jeebies already.
Yeah, all over again. This is extending what we already know about how he feels about death from the episode Portrait of Troyan.
Portrait for Troyan. Is it Portrait of Troyan or for Troyan?
No,
either way.
It's for.
Okay.
You're right.
You're the doc. And so this is Al sort of assessing his situation. Oh, and I forgot, when Stephanie leaves and Sam catches his reflection of Melvin in the mirror, and he's wearing his coroner's smock, which is smeared with blood. And he's like, well, no wonder nobody wants to shake my hand or hug me or touch me. I am covered in human blood.
Well, even when he doesn't have the apron on, people recoil because they know what his profession is. And I actually got a massage once, and during it, she told me she was a mortician, and it didn't bother me at night.
No. Well, and it's a very strange profession. And I've known a gentleman who was his family business was a mortuary. And he started, I think his first job was in the mortuary, and then he went on to do other things, and he traveled. And then when he came back, he continued with it because apparently it's very profitable. It's like haircuts and funerals. Everyone's going to need one at some point.
Yes, and also beauticians for the living and the dead.
Yes. Oh, and we will get to that. So Al is absolutely no help. Ziggy knows nothing.
He's not any help, but I did notice that the new sound effects that you can hear when Al teleports to the next room, I don't know if they've used them before, but I like it a lot better than the Pixie Fairy sparkle from Another Mother.
Oh, in terms of the beaming?
Yes.
Yes. No, I do. And when he goes and leaves to, I always want to say that it's the imaging chamber that Al goes into. Sam goes into the quantum leap accelerator, and Al goes into the imaging chamber so that he can be seen by Sam. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to double check. It's been a week since I watched this, and as we get more and more into the sort of the soap opera nature or the mystery of the week or the story of the week, the science fiction is sort of slowly. It does take it's fading to the background a bit. It's still there, of course, as we have time travel, but yes, the mechanics of it are sort of they're I'm Swiss cheese braining, if you will.
Well, because they're giving it to us in little pieces. Each episode, we might get one piece of the puzzle, and we have to put it together ourselves later.
PvP says, "What? A massage from a mortician? I don't know what to say."
Yeah, it was fun.
I'd ask Jill to tell us more, but I don't want to derail the show. I think that's the whole story.
That's the whole story.
Yeah,
there's nothing more exciting than that. Then I went home.
Yeah, exactly. The mortician was wearing a samurai outfit and used her elbows a lot. I don't know what you want to hear.
Yes, all that.
And so, with no idea as to why Sam has leapt into Melvin, and the odd nature of the death of Hilly in terms of suicide by drowning. Oh, wait. Sorry. Self-deletion by drowning. There we go. Demonetized. He finds what appears to be a bullet hole in Hilly's temple.
Yes.
And so if there's a bullet hole, there must be a bullet. And so Sam walks over to a table, picks up a scalpel, and says, "Well, I am a doctor." And Al says, "I'm going to get a cup of coffee."
Yeah, I think I'm going to sit this leap out.
Yes. Which he doesn't really.
No, he really doesn't, thank goodness, because the more Al, the better the episode.
Absolutely. Dean Stockwell is a treasure, the late great. And I just wish that they had done the reboot of Quantum Leap when he was still around, at least to pass the torch in the same way that DeForest Kelley did for Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Mm-hmm. That would have done a lot. So
we come back to find that Sam has found a piece of metal.
Yes, but it's just shrapnel from the war.
Yes.
World War II.
Oh my. You done? You good? So here Sam does the narration saying, every time I quantum leap, I get to walk a mile in a person's shoes, but I don't often get to drive in their car. And he is driving the mortician's car, so it is a hearse. And he heads to the Tisdale Lodge, which is where Hilly was employed by Mr. Truesdale.
Yes.
Oh, so it's the Truesdale Lodge, not the Tisdale. Truesdale. I couldn't read that. Yeah, that's Truesdale.
Yeah, no, that's terrible script on the sign because the dots are black and then the letters are black, so it's difficult to read.
It is. 50s typography was lacking. Oh, and PvP says no spoilers, but I actually guessed the bullet hole plot line at this point. Really? Because at this point, I thought the red herring of the arrow. Like, as soon as I saw it, so I didn't think that Tom Paris did it.
I didn't either.
Also, I don't know. Is that a good haircut?
I don't know, because he's supposed to be portraying this rich kid. It's kind of like, I guess it makes sense, but I don't know. I don't really like it that much, but he's cute otherwise.
Oh yeah, well, it's still Robert Duncan McNeil. I'm in need of a haircut, and I was wondering whether or not that would be a good one for me. Not that you'd be able to see my temples because I usually wear headphones. But
let me see. It's maybe that's a bad angle. Maybe I do like it. I don't know.
Keep an eye on the haircut and let me know.
Okay. Will.
We'll assess at the end of the. Hang on a second. You know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna put this in. I'm going to start a poll.
Oh, great idea! Because just my opinion, you need multiple people's opinions, and that's a great idea.
Okay, so you continue on. I'll create the poll.
Okay. Well, it turns out that so earlier on, Al was saying that Hilla either has a crush on, who was it besides William Holden? It was either William Holden or
James Dean.
James Dean, of course, James Dean, that rebel guy, and
without a
cause, yeah. But no, Hilla had a crush on William Holden because she has a poster from the movie Picnic right in the living room here.
Yes. And it was a guess that Al had. I bet you that she saw Picnic. It was probably the first movie that she saw when she came to the United States.
And I've never seen this 1955 movie, but it's a Labor Day movie referenced in a 4th of July episode.
Oh, okay. That's, but and this takes place in 1957, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Picnic came out in 1955. And in one of our musical we're keeping track of the music because I've got the DVDs with the original music. Jill has elevator music when it comes on. I sent you the songs because they're all instrumentals and they're all by like the Universal Studios orchestra. Was it the same music?
I don't know. When it's instrumental, my brain doesn't process it, so it kind of sounded fine. I don't know.
I really want to. Well, I'm a sucker for that era of music. I enjoy big band music, and I enjoy the sort of movie scores. Music. It was absolutely lovely. No, fair enough. I didn't accuse you of no. I will never listen to anything pre-1960. But No, I fell in love with the music in this episode too. This is the first time I had seen this, and I thought it was adorable, and I thought it was actually really, really fitting for the episode that they stick like all of the music from this episode is from that soundtrack.
Yes.
And so Melvin goes into Hilly's room at the lodge and picks up the book by Mark Twain, starts playing the soundtrack to Picnic.
And I love this book. And, Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer, that's all right. But these short stories are my favorite of his work because he's got a lot of satirical, thought-provoking stuff, and like one about the Garden of Eden and also fables and everything. It's fun. But and also analyzing humanity and the perception of reality. So it's a really good book. I have it right next to me.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm writing it down.
Not this particular one, but like mine is all torn up. But the book that ends up interesting Sam is Hilly's Diary.
Yes. Which shows the fluency that Sam has in German, because he is reading the diary, which is written in German. I'm assuming this is a doll from her time in the escaping the war. She would have been very, very young. We do find out that the day that she is in the morgue is her 19th birthday, and
yes.
Al somewhat, not wistfully, remorsefully says she'll be 19 forever.
Yeah, but also of note is that Robert Duncan McNeil's birthday is also November 9th.
Oh, good work. So yeah, and so we get more images of Hilly, and Sam is still like, and he even mentions in one of the narration moments of the episode that he seems more haunted with her than usual when it comes to someone that he is interacting with during a leap. So,
yeah, he has some kind of connection with her that is not ever really explained.
No.
It's there, though.
Yes, and it's ethereal. And again, we were sort of early on in our reviews of these, they do mention the direction coming from a higher power, and never referenced here at all. This is the first. This is the first time that it seems that Sam is here because Sam wants to be here.
Oh, do you think Sam directed this leap? Because I was wondering why the higher power didn't put Sam before the tragedy happened so he could save Hilly.
Well, and there is somewhat of a controversy, and I don't know if it's a manufactured controversy or if it's just a matter of it being in its time. But as Dalek says, does it need to be explained, though? Dalek, that's why I like you, sir. No, it doesn't need to be. It adds to the Please, Jill.
I like things to be explained, but I still love this episode nonetheless.
And I am absolutely fine with that mystical aspect or that mystery that not everything needs to be explained. Some of it can be ambiguous, and also like and again, that's part of the reason. And as we get to the final episode of Quantum Leap, which we are way off from, this is the first time that a seed has been planted that maybe it's Sam doing it.
Yes, but it's not been definitively said that he's directed a leap yet. So this is news to me. Great news.
Right.
And he has some kind of power over it.
This is the first step. And so
even if it's unconscious?
Even if it's unconscious. Well, it's spoilers for the last episode, so I don't want to get into it.
Okay, that's fine.
But through reading the diary, Sam discovers that Hilly had broken off a relationship with her lover to be with someone who she has truly fallen in love with. And she is so happy, but she has broken off a relationship to pursue her true love. At which point, Stephanie barges in. Well, not barges in, walks through the open door. Let's not go crazy. And says, The fuck, yo. That's a direct quote from a television show from 1990.
It is pretty much. What are you doing here? She was not happy to see somebody here.
Well, and he had asked Greg that he's looking for a burial dress for Hilly. And Greg says the blue one with the bow at the back. And that's the same thing that Stephanie offers. And Stephanie is the first person that Sam sort of infers that he is looking for, who could potentially be Hilly's murderer. Is this when it happens? When he sort of says, I'm not so sure that she committed suicide?
Yes. Yeah. Well, he says that earlier. But yes, that's why he's investigating this, because he doesn't think that he would have leaped if somebody just self-deleted.
Right.
So
it's too late. I already said it. So you can say whatever you want.
Okay.
Whatever you're more comfortable with. I don't mean to press you in either direction. It's always a pleasure to have you, deal. And so, yeah. So Sam, sorry.
Hilla and Stephanie, they're friends, and they had plans to go to New York, where Hilla would be a model and Stephanie would be a photographer.
Yes. Well, and Stephanie even says, "Oh, the camera loved her. My camera loved her." And so Sam finds out that that Stephanie was the one who takes most of the photographs that we see of Hilly.
And Stephanie does a really good job of once she knows what Sam is up to, of seeming like she's being helpful, like she wants to be helpful.
Yes, which is usually the way.
Mm-hmm.
And so Al steps out of the closet, and Sam is like, "How long have you been there?" And Al says, "Well, long enough to know you think that she got murdered."
Yeah, and
or long enough for you to think that either Greg or Mr. Truesdale, you think Mr. Truesdale killed her. And we find out that Hilly had been fired by Mr. Truesdale the day before she died.
But he also says that she's a really good employee, like the best employee, and then he fires her. Why does he fire her?
Because it wasn't just
Hilly. Right. Okay, I remember.
It wasn't just Hilly who died that day.
Right. This is actually the scene where he says that there were two people who died at the lake that she tested positive for pregnancy. So she was carrying a baby.
Tested positive?
Yeah. Well, he tested her blood, and you could.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait.
Nothing. It's just I've never heard someone refer to becoming pregnant or being pregnant as, well, we tested positive for baby.
Yeah, well,
I have a major case of baby. I suppose it's not funny considering that Hilly is no longer with us.
No, I know, but
it's kind of humorous. Sorry.
Well, so when you have morning sickness, it does kind of feel like your body's being invaded.
Okay. So, I'm going to ask my mom when she tested positive with Scott. Oh, I remember that day when we got the results back. Doctor walked in with a grave look on his face. I'm afraid you have a case with Scott.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm laughing about this because it's like, well,
it's a mystery. Come on,
it's sad in the episode, but when you can actually have the baby, it's not sad.
Right. But in this case, unfortunately, yes, Hilly was pregnant, and which also throws more doubt onto the fact that she would have killed herself.
Right. That's what that's what Al says, rather, about the times during those times. If you were having a baby out of wedlock, then that might be something somebody might be depressed over.
Mm-hmm. And this is where Al says, or is this where Al says the people who are involved, like they talk about Lyle and how he was the chief of police for 33 years and then retired to Florida, and then we still haven't seen the beauty, the sort of makeup lady.
Yeah, so not yet. But Al does some really great. He's getting better and better at smacking Ziggy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, pardon me.
Through the series. And here's Aggie.
Yes. And I thought I recognized Aggie from somewhere as well. But I don't think I did, because I just saw another picture of Deborah Strang as Aggie.
And she's just there to put makeup on Hilly for the funeral.
Yes. And it's Sam who says that make it look natural. But what's their interaction before that? Because it seems to be a scene between Aggie and Melvin, but I have no recollection of what they talk about.
Me neither.
Okay, so they talk. She makes her up.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Sam says that he forgot the blue dress with the bow, and so he returns to Hilly's.
Oh, that's what she says. You're always getting after me for forgetting things.
Yes, and so that's why I was mistaken. Anyway, we'll get there, kids. We'll get there. And so Sam goes back and watches some of the home movies that are at Hilly's place. And it shows the day that she had on the 4th of July.
Yeah, she is in a Statue of Liberty costume.
Mm-hmm. And, well, a Statue of Liberty costume and then just a regular dress.
Yes.
And so, and I didn't notice that. I was sort of taken with the beauty of Suzanne, the actress.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 50s bathing costumes.
I like them.
Yes. And so, again, we have another, and I think this is, and so, yeah, Sam says to Lyle, you got to go and check and see if there's a gun. Because if there's a gun, then she killed herself and it dropped into it. So then she killed herself. We're fine with that. But if the gun isn't there, then she was murdered. And no gun, no murder. So yeah. Sam continues the investigation.
Yeah, and those movies tell Sam that she wouldn't have self-deleted because she's young and full of life.
Mm-hmm. And then this is the first red herring, essentially, showing the archery again, at which point
yes,
Sam...
and I totally bought it.
So did I. I was like, Mr. Truesdale, you son of a bitch.
Well, right, because he is a jerk, and we know that he's a jerk.
Well, I think it's the characterization of a 50s father.
Mm-hmm. Well, a 50s father who is rich, and he thinks that his son is too good for anybody who is not similarly
right. And so,
prosperous.
Yes. Oh, of course, marrying out of your class. And besides, Greg is notorious for being a ladies' man around campus, and he is a champion archer. And so Melvin, or Sam, goes to confront and say, we think that Hilly has been murdered. Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Also, Mr. Truesdale is gloating. And again, this sort of leads into the red herring that it was Mr. Truesdale. Because he says, oh, I'm getting better at this. I haven't beat you since you were 13. And so it's like, oh, he's a good shot with the bow and arrow. And so we have two men here who could possibly have been the potential murderer. But as PvP says, the arrow was too obvious a red herring. Didn't fool me. All right. And yes, you deserve the pat on your back, sir. The pat's back, self on back smugly. You deserve it. I've already admitted to my lack of awareness when it comes to recognizing certain mysteries.
Me too. But that's what makes them so fun for us, because we don't get it.
Exactly. Like what is it in the great mysteries? If you can read the first 3 pages of a mystery and know who did it, it's boring mystery. So absolutely. I'm happy that I am dim.
Well, I'm normally not, but with mysteries, I'm not. I'm dim, yes.
I enjoy being taken on the journey. But so this is where Melvin goes and confronts Mr. Truesdale and Greg and says, we think Hilly was murdered and it could have been a scorned lover. And Greg says, I couldn't have done it. I was away that weekend. I was away this weekend because I was doing, I was at a championship.
Yeah.
And Lyle's like, yeah, he was. He brought back the biggest of trophies.
Yeah, there was a tournament. So that made me think that there was like another guy or something. But then there was no other guy. And so I was still like, I don't know. But that'll come up later.
Yep. And that's, yeah, exactly. And so we go back to Hilly's room. And this is where Al is sort of narrowing down what's going on with the immediate circle surrounding Hilly.
And this is why I think Roger's a jerk.
Why?
Oh, because Aggie loses her beauty shop business in 1963 for performing. Okay, so Al finds out that Aggie loses her beauty shop business in 1963 for performing an illegal abortion. Also in the scene, when Al tells Sam, oh wait, okay, the abortion. Okay, so Roger takes Hilly to get that abortion.
Oh yes.
I don't know. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna be a grandparent. Let's just get that thing out of you.
Yes.
And so that's why.
Well,
and she cried and didn't go through with it.
Right, and she kept.
It's one thing if she wanted one, but it seems very clear that she didn't.
Well, and Greg makes it. Well, later, Greg says what his intentions were.
Right. Well, I mean, it's very clear throughout the episode that Greg did love her, and
yes,
just Robert Duncan McNeil doesn't get much to say, but when you see him, you can tell his intentions are pure somehow. I don't know. He gives off a good feeling.
Yeah. Oh, he plays a good guy, and he doesn't have the same level of smugness or smarm that either Nick or Tom do.
Exactly. Also in this scene, when Al tells Sam that this isn't Laura, he's talking about the film Laura from 1944 about a private detective who falls in love with the woman whose murder he is investigating. So that's weird. I didn't get that Sam was in love with Hilly until he said that.
Well, and maybe this is something that is the residue of Melvin in Sam, in that this is something that was more part of Melvin than it is of Sam. Maybe that's what that trace is. Maybe that's why we're getting for us, the audience, to get the sense that Sam or Melvin or an amalgamation of the two are emotionally connected, falling in love, what have you. So Sam goes to see Aggie and basically says, so about that procedure, luckily all of the ladies in the beauty salon are underneath the dryers, so they probably can't hear what the conversation is. And Aggie is just like, can you not, please? I'm going to lose all of my customers if you start saying what's going on in the back room.
Well, yeah, exactly. And Pleasant Valley Picker says that, well, here, abortion was a pretty heavy topic for 90s television. So this episode doesn't tell you what's right or what's wrong about it. It's just something that happens within the story and that it happens. But it is a subtle commentary on the fact that Hilla could not go get this procedure done by a medical professional.
Oh, no. No, I knew that wasn't a thing. Isn't that like one of the plot lines of Dirty Dancing, which takes place in like, I think the early 60s. And there's a character who happens to have that procedure done as well. Or is looking to, because Patrick Swayze knocked her up, for lack of a better term. I really enjoyed the mirror work in this episode, and I don't know how, because it looks like the back of Lyle's head, but it's really good. There's a lot of Melvin in this episode.
This is an evolution of the mirror reflection, I think. Definitely. When you're watching it, you do appreciate it more.
Yes. And I do appreciate it. Thank you, Edge of Time, for recognizing my use of the word smarm. Come on. Tom Paris was Space Chandler, and we all know it. And yeah, to even mention it was probably controversial then, Jill. If you guys want to talk, I'll step aside. Uh, but
Oh
this
no,
is
I
no,
said all I need to say on that.
and so yeah, and so this is Sam preparing with the locket, her family locket, and the blue dress. I like how everybody says, "Oh, it's the one with the bow on the back," and it's like, I don't think people are going to see the bow. So it's interesting, but this
But
is where we have
that's
our
probably why it's her favorite, and that's why they mention it.
oh, probably in terms of when she was upright. It
Mm-hmm.
was probably lovely, but it's one of those things. And I thought about this, and again, I'm a morbid individual, so I was curious. Really, you're going to put shoes? Like I'm assuming the bottom half of the casket's going to be closed.
Well, yeah, but you're dressing somebody. She needs to be fully dressed.
I suppose, yeah, they put pants on people when they're buried.
Mm-hmm.
So, gallows humor. So, once Sam tries to put one of the shoes on Hilly, he sort of has a revelation and gathers the suspects in Hilly's room to show the home movies that were taken shortly before her death.
Yeah, despite no one believing him, they're still willing to cooperate by talking to him and through his investigating work. Because Sam is doing all the legwork for this mystery.
Yes. And so Sam plays the movie, and Greg says, "Oh yeah, no, I took those shots," and Sam
And
says,
those
"Yeah,
those yeah, those shots were like by an amateur, and that's Greg.
yes."
And
But
then this shot.
which it must have been an Easter egg for people who enjoy the photography of the situation. But he talks about the composition and the focus and how it looks like it was done by a professional. And I agree in terms of the framing, it looks great. And the other stuff was sort of Blair Witchy.
Yeah, like flipping around. Like he was running around with her too, which obviously he was. He was just having fun.
Yes. And so then, and Sam says it was taken by a professional, and Stephanie, you're a professional. And she says, I didn't take those pictures. I didn't take this movie. And he says, yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he pulls out the diary and says that Hilly had broken it off with someone, and that Sam had instinctually thought that it was a man that she had broken it off with. But hey, Lemon,
Hello, lemon pie.
it wasn't. It was Stephanie.
Yes.
And so Greg says a lot of the things that Hilly had said are starting to make a lot more sense. And it is mentioned in the diary that on the 4th of July, Hilly had had a little bit too much to drink, but luckily that had given her the courage, liquid courage, if you will, to tell the truth. And so Greg says, yeah, when she had been in the the war displacement centers after the war, she had been harassed, bullied, possibly even assaulted by men, and it
Definitely.
found it difficult to become closer with any men.
No,
And
she was definitely assaulted by men. And yeah, that's why she went to women for love
comfort.
and comfort, yes. And bonding. Because she lost her family, so maybe she was looking for that kind of connection.
Absolutely. And Captain Finity is here. High five, smiles, and fire, sir. Good to have you here.
Hey, Captain.
And so the question is, it the question of whether or not there's a bullet, what happened? And then no, Sam has the arrow, and he's using it as a pointer. He's really going full on science and pointing at things.
Yeah, he shows that it couldn't have been the arrow. It had the wrong shape.
Right. It was not the
And
same size as the hole in her temple.
the way he figured it out was that Hilly's shoe was much smaller than the shoe he had gotten earlier from the
Yes.
scene of the death.
Hilly was a size 6, and Stephanie was an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I do have. Hang on a second. I want to see what IMDb has to say about this because this is interesting to me. So it is. Sam takes the shoe and bangs it against the door, revealing the size of the hole being the same size
Mm-hmm.
as the hole in Hilly's temple. And yeah, Stephanie was the lover that it was broken up with. So everyone pointed and said, lesbian.
Well,
And no,
they didn't say that, but yes.
And
Yes, he was.
this is
But
the
Stephanie loved Hilly, and Hilly no longer loved her.
right. And Greg had made his intention to elope with Hilly known. At Mr. Truesdale's like, what? And he was like, I was gonna do it, Dad, and you can't stop me.
Yeah, and Stephanie thinks he entrapped her like that, but
yeah.
But
You made...
killing her with the shoe, it's kind of outrageous.
Honestly, who kills with a shoe? And so yeah, no, it's just.
But I didn't believe it, but I looked it up, and some people have been killed by high heels in their head before, in real life. So that was a thing that I found.
Yeah, and
I didn't think it was a thing.
Well, and that was, and when I saw the heel, I was like, maybe that was it. And then when I saw the arrow, that's when I was thrown off, and I was like, no, it was Mr. Truesdale who did the arrow thing. And so I completely forgot about the shoe because I thought the arrow was much more obvious as a murder weapon. But in the spoiler section of IMDb, it says this episode gained some controversy as many criticized Stephanie's motivation for killing Hilly as portraying and exploiting negative stereotypes relating to lesbian and gay characterizations.
Well, but wait, why can't people just be people and some people kill?
Crimes of passion. I don't think that it.
It's crime of passion. I don't think her being gay has anything to do with being good or bad.
No, I think that this is a relationship that went south and it wouldn't have made a difference. Well, aside from the fact that a man wouldn't have been wearing high heels in the 1950s. But that's it. I think that this motivation is, I think, acceptable. I don't think it, and I can't, I guess there were characterizations of homosexual.
Yeah, but it's not like she was a mustache trolling villain or anything like, haha, I'm gay and I'm like really bad. But no, she says that she didn't mean to hurt her. I mean, I don't know how you don't mean to hurt someone and kill them with the shoe, but she insists that it was an accident.
It was an accident. She just took off her shoe and started swinging. And
well, they were ready in a fight because remember the heel, the black heel, had scuff marks. Like she was being dragged, so Hilly was actually dragging her, and at some point, the shoes came off and became weapons. And
well, either way, she killed her.
Yeah, well, but straight people kill, gay people kill. I don't think the orientation is relevant.
No, and
I think she's just a killer who happens to be gay.
Agreed. Oh, I agree. But again, it's something. I would say that it is I agree with you wholeheartedly. I can also see the other side of that coin in terms of people in the lesbian and gay community at the time. There was no acronym or anything, so it would have been the homosexual community in 1990 would have seen that as some sort of vilification. But I think that that's an overreaction. But I guess it just depends on how many representations of gay people you had on television.
Mm-hmm.
It either way doesn't matter. It's all, if there was controversy, I'm sure that it is far past. I'm not concerned with it because, as you said, people kill people. What they do in their spare time is their business, and if it motivates them to kill, that's what they do.
I think it's actually dehumanizing to make all gay people in media only good, like to say that they are only good all of the time and that they're not capable of making mistakes.
Agreed. Yeah, putting people on pedestals for no other reason than their immutable facts. I don't think that's beneficial for anybody in any community.
Mm.
And so, yes, Stephanie's upset with the fact that, and that's a beautiful frame, seeing Stephanie all bereft
Yeah.
with Hilly in the background, almost glaring. Why did you kill me, Stephanie? It's because Craig gave you a case of baby.
Like if I'm standing, I don't know. I don't think I would kill somebody with a shoe, but Stephanie did.
Yes.
You're standing by water, you could just toss her in, but I don't know.
Well, Hilly could swim, I guess. I don't know. Again, I just find death or like killing yourself by drowning. It just seems like you're gonna just jump in and hold your breath at the bottom of the lake until you have to inhale. Like the human body wants to survive. I don't think that you would actually. I think she would probably surface before she died. I don't.
Unless she had a high heel impaled into her brain.
Right, exactly. That's why she wasn't found in a bowling alley, because flats.
But we don't get to see the trial or any of her real motivations. So
no,
we can't really explore further what happened there with Stephanie's crime.
No, I would assume that the authorities in the judicial system would have taken care of it. Edge of Time says
there is a sequel, but not in the show. It's a comic book.
There's a comic book?
Yeah, there's a comic book. Where is it here? So here's a synopsis for the comic book. Okay, wait.
Oh, cool.
It's called Up Against the Wall, Volume Number 1, Issue Number 9, and it was written in February 1993. It's a sequel to Good Night, Dear Heart. Sam leaps into Stephanie Haywood, a lesbian woman who is involved in an accidental murder on another leap. Just out of prison, Stephanie has become a photographer who may quickly become famous. Sam must help a transsexual man fight the system to further the cause of homosexuals, which ends up at the historical Stonewall Inn, a turning point for the gay and lesbian movement. So that sounds like a comic book that could be read. I did not read it.
No, but I've written it down because it sounds like something that I want to read.
Yeah, me too.
And supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Welcome, Matt G.
Hello, Matt G. Yeah, and Edge of Time does say awkward. Yeah, it is. The whole thing is really awkward.
Well, and I kind of like your perspective on it in terms of as a whodunit and trying to figure it out, and the way that the red herrings have gone through the mystery. I think that is, it sort of exposes the presuppositions of where Sam was coming from. Oh, and Dalek says that comic sounds like garbage.
Well, in today's time it does, but remember this was written in 1993 when 90s progressivism was not woke. So if I were to read it, it would probably be, it might actually be good, and so I'm actually interested in it.
Yeah, me too. And I've just developed a new theory, Dalek. No, I haven't seen it, but I can assure you it's trash. So, it may sound that way, but until you actually give it a go, give it a go.
I have not formed my opinion on it yet.
No, neither have I. Although in seeing as that there is sort of outside media adaptations or continuations of the story of Sam and Al, it would be interesting to just check it out. I'm curious.
I'm more interested in reading the Quantum Leap comic books than I am watching the reboot or sequel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And PvP says Stonewall was an historic event for the gay community. I'm not familiar with it. Even though I can recognize as a man, I can recognize the Desperate Housewives. That doesn't necessarily. I don't know. I'm not a literary or a historical. Well, I'm just gonna stop talking.
Well, normally if it's in the episode, I'll research it. But since this was an ancillary, piece about a comic book, I didn't go further into what those events were. But thank you, Pleasant Valley Pick.
Yeah, thanks, PvP. And I know we're at a funeral, but I'm going to continue my my tradition of saying I want that hat, I want that coat, I want those shoes.
Yeah, it's Al changes 3 times in this episode.
Yeah. And I don't even know if I have to say it anymore. Every time Al shows up on screen, I want his entire wardrobe. And so the last person standing at Hilly's grave, and Al shows up, and Sam says, "I didn't do anything." And Al says, "Sure, you did. You brought Hilly's killer to justice." And Sam says, "Then why am I still here?" And Al says, "I guess you're just supposed to say goodbye." At which point he does read from Mark Twain's the complete short stories of Mark Twain from the episode title.
Yes, well, I might have bought that, but since I have read this book, I know that it's not autobiographical. It's full of fictional tales. So I pulled up a PDF of the book, and the poem isn't there. So it turns out this poem is actually on Mark Twain's daughter's headstone. He wrote it for the headstone. His daughter, Oliver Susan Clemens, died in 1896 when she was only 24 years old.
Oh my.
And from meningitis. Mark Twain adapted a poem from Robert Richardson called Annette. And for a while, people would attribute the words to Mark Twain, but when he found out, this is what he said. We had found them in a book in India, but had lost the book, and with it, the author's name. But in time, an application to the editor of Notes and Queries furnished me with the author's name, and it has been added to the verse upon the gravestone. And so he added Robert Richardson's name to the tombstone so that people would quit giving him credit for something he didn't come up with.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Is it a possibility that Hilly would have written the headstone like on a back page or something like that?
Oh, that is a possibility. Okay, well, there you go. You just fixed it for me.
Well,
You must have scribbled it in there somewhere.
It is hypothetical. It is hypothetical. And with the Stonewall, PvP is giving us the historical context of Stonewall. The Stonewall riots, also known as the Stonewall Uprising, Stonewall Rebellion, or simply Stonewall, were a series of spontaneous protests by members of the gay community in response to a police raid that began in the early morning hours of June 28, 1969, at the Stonewall Inn in Greenwich Village neighborhood of Lower Manhattan in New York City. I wasn't familiar with that at all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Edge of Time in reference to Al's wardrobe, more costume changes than a Madonna concert.
Yes,
True
and if you really do love all of Al's costumes, if you go to Al's Places, which is one of the resources that I use for these episodes, for information for these episodes, the person who makes that website lists everything that Al is wearing in every episode and how many times he changes his outfit.
Well, I don't know.
Here, I'll put it in the private chat for you.
I'll put it in the public chat.
Okay, I'll put it in the public chat. Well, because I'm not in the public chat right now.
Oh, okay, then don't worry about it.
I'm putting it in the private so you can copy and paste it.
I will. Here we are. And, oh, wait, hang on a second. And so, oh, go ahead.
But okay, this is for this particular episode. That's the link for that. And at the bottom, it tells you all of the things that Al is wearing. Al's outfits worn in the episode. He does it for every episode. So here he's wearing the white overcoat with the blue shirt, dark pants, dark blue vest, silver shoes, white fedora, and black band.
It's a weird thing to wear to a funeral. And PvP says it was an event that galvanized the gay community to stand up for their human rights and fight police brutality. Interesting. And again, it would be something, I'm PvP. I'm sure that you would agree that if this was something that took place in the episode, then Jill would have it completely. Thank you for providing the context for the ancillary information. You're a gentleman, sir. And I will put, here we go. And here's the thing. And boom. That is the specific information for that. So now Al leaps into magic. Or Sam leaps into magic.
Black magic.
Black magic. Yes. And and apparently $400 on the line, double or nothing, whether or not Sam can make this shot. And it doesn't look like he's going to. And we get an oh boy.
Yeah.
But that is the end of that. And I am going to hang on just one second.
Mhm.
Just gonna. Oh, awesome. Let's see. I'm just heading over to my mails that are E. And
Oh wait, what are we doing? Okay, so PvP says Al's coat is great. Yeah, all of his outfits are great. So now
yeah.
I don't know
There
why I
and
didn't tell you sooner that website has that information in it. Because you're actually interested in wearing some of them, and you could piece together an outfit just by referencing this website.
yeah. Oh, I know. And again, as long as all I'm gonna need is a Ziggy handling.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that my Halloween costume is set forever because I'm obviously going to get like 4 or 5 different owl costumes and then mix and match. But it's more important for Pool Hall Blues simply because of the silver outfit that Owl wears, which is incredible. And so we are. I have sent you an email, PvP, if you'd like to join us for Pool Hall Blues, because again, this one's a party for me simply as it is, from what I recall, the first episode of Quantum Leap that I ever saw. And I am jazzed for it. Where?
Makes me wish I would have remembered what my first episode was. I don't. Maybe I'll know it when I see it.
Oh, where? That's where. Okay, yeah. Now I know where. Yeah, I know exactly where I knew this guy from. So yeah. So Sam leaps in. Sam leaps into. Hang on a second. I'm going to make sure I can't just call him Magic the entire time.
That's what they do in the episode. They call him Magic.
Magic.
His name is okay. In the episode is Sam. Okay, wait. Let me actually start where I start.
Okay.
Pool Hall Blues first aired on March 14th, 1990. It was written by Randy Holland and directed by Joe Napolitano.
Yes.
And we often don't talk about the director of photography, but for this episode, it was Michael Watkins, and he won an Emmy for Outstanding Cinematography for a series in 1990.
For this episode?
I don't know if it was specifically for this episode, but at the bottom of Al's place, it said awards, and he got this award.
Okay.
Possibly for this episode.
Oh. And so, let me see. I'm going to go to, I'll see if it's in the trivia aspect. For reference, aside from watching the episode, I've just been clicking over to, this episode won an Emmy for Outstanding Cinematography for a series.
Yes. And so Sam leaps into September 4th, 1954, into the place of Charlie, Black Magic, Walters, who lives in Chicago, Illinois. And now this one is super cool because the script was based in part on the life of Robert Rags Woods, who played Charlie Walters' mirror image.
Oh, and really?
Yeah, and usually there's not much to say about the actor who plays the mirror image. He was Robert Rags Woods was an expert pool player that most people would avoid playing against, and as a result, he didn't receive much recognition. So it's great, at least, that he's got this episode.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I do recall that I think it was in one of I read a plot synopsis for it, and it was talking about black magic. And saying that he was one of the greatest pool players of all time. And then in parentheses, it says fictional. And so I'm glad that it is based on the actor who plays the mirror reflection, which we get a couple shots of, but not as many as we got of Melvin. I like this double header as well, that we get Melvin and Magic. The alliteration is lovely. But this little punk-ass guy is goading Magic, and until Grady, Magic's best friend, is like, don't you even know who you're taunting, son?
Yeah, he thinks he's going to get enough money to buy a Cadillac. But, right, Grady tells him different. Oh, Pleasant P said he didn't get an email. I will send him one.
I sent it again.
You sent it again?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm okay.
You're good.
I'm gonna send it anyway because.
Sure. So, Sam, oh my God, look how fugly that is. He does not look like he knows how to play pool at all.
We're right. Magic knows how to play pool, but not Sam necessarily.
Right.
And that's good. I'm glad that Sam didn't turn out to be an expert in this because it seems to be a bit of a trope that Sam can just automatically become an expert at everything. So I like that he was kind of handicapped for this one.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But also, yeah. But Sam's always been portrayed as somewhat of a square in his schooling days, and I'm pretty sure, like, I would say that my education in pool would have been Pleasant Valley Picker got it. And so my education in the pool halls happened when I should have been in school anyway. So that I understand completely.
I played pool in university with my friends, and I'd never had to call my shots. I'm just like, okay, either I'm stripes or I'm solid, and I just went for whatever.
Fair enough. And
I got away with it.
Absolutely. And hang on a second, I'm just going to drop. Everyone knows what we're watching, so I'm just going to drop this bad boy. And welcome to the show, PvP. Oh, wait, there we are. And click this button, and we should be hot.
Can you hear? Yeah, can you hear me now?
No.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much.
You can't hear him?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I'm being facetious.
Okay. Well, sometimes I never know with this darn technology. Sometimes, like I've even been like lost a connection in StreamYard like in the last month, like 3 times now. And
well, you're here now. You're okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Hey,
by the way,
go ahead.
I got Scotty's link and then your link, Jill. So I'm swimming in links right now.
Great. But before we continue with this episode, I was wondering if you had a brief opinion about the previous episode.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was, well, here, let me pull my notes up because I made fairly extensive ones. Because I thought, well, you never know. If I get an invite, I want to be prepared.
Well, thank you.
I thought the opening, with the dead girl was very disturbing because, I mean, she's so young and, had such a tragic death. I thought, that was very sad. It really touched me. And then, I didn't like the father right away because it's like, here's this arrogant daddy. He's like running the town, right? He owns the town, right? Jill, it's
something like that. It's just vague.
Yeah. But I mean, it was what? It's the 50s though, right? So I could kind of see that as being a reality in small towns in those days. So let's see. And I thought it was funny when Sam's character, the mortician, looked in the mirror and he goes, "No wonder nobody wants to touch me." I was thinking, oh, maybe it's just because he's, kind of fat and homely looking, but
well, you don't have to go through the whole episode. Just like a basic, like what you.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was tragic.
At the end.
It was very heartwarming. I actually guessed the shoe killing like about halfway through.
Yeah, I don't know right. Why. You figured out the mystery.
It just popped into my head, and I thought,
really,
well, if it's the shoe, it's got to be the girlfriend, right?
Well, so yeah.
So I kind of figured it all out. Like it's, the girlfriend, they had a romance, she was jealous for some reason. And she, anyway, I mean, I guess that probably covers it pretty good.
Yeah. One thing I didn't think about, like, I don't know why she hit her in the head with that high heel. Other than the fact that they're fighting.
Yeah. Well,
I don't really like the thing where, if I can't have you, no one can, or something. I don't think that's Stephanie was. I don't think that's what Stephanie was thinking. But
that's it. I mean, if things are that bad, just separate, right? Like, be rational and just go about your lives. And
I have to just guess because we don't get to see what happens after that.
True, well, but I kind of understand it just in terms of the crimes of passion. If there is something where you found out that your lover was having essentially an affair, although while Hilly was looking to Stephanie for comfort, but then found the love that she was seeking in her diary, it says, all I'm missing in my life is someone to truly love. And then to find out that if I were Stephanie, And I found out that what have we been doing, Hilly? And then, you know, tempers rise. And well, if first of all, you betrayed my love for you, because while Hilly may have been looking for comfort and been bi-curious, or had been perceived as leading Stephanie on, then and again, most murders are crimes of passion.
That's actually what I wrote here. You know, I felt for the killer because it was a crime of passion, basically. So they just lost it for a minute, and now they're going to pay for the rest of their days, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and until we have that event that occurs in the comics, which is somewhat redemptive.
Yeah. Well thought out.
And
but now we can move back onto Pool.
I just wanted one last comment. I just thought it was a hard-hitting episode, though, because I mean the whole thing of mentioning abortion and in a lesbian relationship, like, I think that was pretty gutsy for early '90s TV. I don't remember a whole lot of shows talking about that stuff back then, really. So
yeah, it was really well done too, because it didn't tell you one way or another.
Yeah, and she wasn't like an evil lady. She was just someone that was in love, and she, lost her cool and, did something bad, right? So,
well, and one of the jokes that I've had on a couple of our conversations is, it's like, oh, this is a woke episode, and it's like, no, it's not.
No.
It's an acknowledgement, and it's of societal changes and norms that are being shed to light, and these are parables and morality plays, and that's part of the reason, with a huge heart, with a desire to make right what once went wrong. And so I do enjoy that it's not just sort of a rough and tumble. It's not the Fall Guy. It's not TJ Hooker. This is Sam with a huge heart trying to solve things, and Al and their friendship and their bond. And there is a certain level, unless someone is, in a weird kidnap van in the early 80s, everyone has a motivation that is either understandable, sympathetic, or at least you can get their perspective and point of view.
Yeah, well, I really felt Sam in this episode. I mean, he was really, really feeling a lot of emotion. Like I felt for once, like he always seems to feel emotion for the people he's trying to help, or whatever's going on in the episode. But I felt this one, he was really, especially touched by the tragedy of the situation, and him being so determined to like solve the crime and see that whoever was responsible was actually brought to justice, so to speak. I thought it was quite touching, really. And that's one thing I love about Quantum Leap. I've only watched 4 episodes now, but it's the way it's like a history lesson. Like, for the audience back then, it's like they're actually talking about real history, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that's fantastic.
And it's reflected in the costumes and the cars and the settings and the music, and it's absolutely glorious.
I love it.
I enjoy it very much.
Yeah, I love it.
Meanwhile, back in Chicago.
Yeah. And Lemon Pie says Jill was a hustler. And I wasn't going to show this. I made this image, but I wasn't going to show it. But you know what? Because Lemon Pie said this, I'm going to show it for 3 seconds.
Okay.
Yay! Awesome. And I see Jill's waiting there to take your money. Take your money, suckers.
That's me playing pool. It was about 14 years ago.
Oh my.
I was in college, so I was old enough to do that red stripe.
College days. I remember those.
Well,
college days are fun.
I'm going to do my best to get some red stripe for the next Plum Week tea time. Dalek in the chat says, I played pool sometimes against my dad or my brother. Yeah, and some of my favorite bonding times have been playing pool with my dad. Although he kicks my ass at snooker, I still get him at 8-ball.
I have a pool story if there's a minute to tell it.
Well, let's get to the montage, and then we'll share.
Let's do the episode first, and maybe I'll tell it.
Let's tell that at the end. That's a good idea. I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Lemon Pie says that they are pretty terrible at pool, and Dalek admiring your billiards, your pool shark memories.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't exactly a pool shark, but I did break that shot from that picture.
Jill, if anybody asks you if you're a pool shark, you say yes.
Right. I forgot about that rule.
Unless they want you to play for like $1,000 or something, then maybe you'd be better off to decline.
No, you just say you're too good, and playing you would be beneath me. Always. Oh yeah. If somebody asks you if you're a god, you say yes.
And what if they take you up on it, though?
And that's what Sam did. That's what Sam does here. That's exactly what Sam does in this scene.
Exactly. I'm not going to waste my time on you, little boy.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously Sam doesn't know how to play pool, and he is actually losing. But his granddaughter, or Melvin's granddaughter rather, Miss Violet, breaks up the game and says, "You know what? You better take your money now because he's going to cream you."
Yeah, it is a great negotiation to cover up. Like, do you even know who this man is? And starts listing his victories. And the guy is actually really impressed. He's like, no, you're not really him, are you? And yeah, I am. And starts Grady, who is the gentleman here, who is sort of the sidekick to Black Magic.
A really great sidekick. I really liked his acting in this episode.
Yeah, he's too. So loyal. It was awesome. Like, he was just great.
And he's played by Teddy Wilson, who played in a bunch of movies. I don't know. Bound by Honor. Life Stinks. That's Life. Loose Shoes. I don't know.
Well, there were loose shoes in the last episode. So.
Good point. Yeah, but he also did stuff on TV, like sitcoms. He was Isaac the bartender in Love Boat.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. He would have probably been a little bit younger then in Love Boat, I guess, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I don't
Grady
remember.
Was?
That's what it says here. Wow. It could be wrong. This is from I'm referencing Al's Place as so
hang on a second. No, because I have that oddly enough. And big shout out to Todd Michael once again. We have to shout out Todd Michael once an episode on In the Loop. I do have hang on, where is he? I have that actor's name nearly here. Nope, not there. I think it might be in the Fantasmagorium Facebook chat. Let me find it. But because Todd Michael found an action figure of Isaac the bartender.
You're kidding.
Not at all. And he said he wanted it. And so I sent him a gift because I was like, of course you want the action figure from Isaac from the Love Boat. And he was played by Ted Lang, was Isaac on the Love Boat. So
different guy.
So what? Okay. So whoever did this website got mixed up, I guess.
Well, I'm going to give it a pass simply because this isn't the Love Boat wiki that we're looking at. It's the Quantum Leap, and so a little Swiss cheese brain going caca is fine with me.
But I'm glad that you corrected that because I was trusting that source.
It's just so strange that it came up today for the both of us.
That's the trouble with the internet, though, is you never know if the source has got their facts straight because sometimes they can be totally off. So
well, yeah, and that's why I kind of.
You know why? Why? He was Isaac the bartender, but only for the TV movie.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh man, see, I'm having fun with this episode already.
Awesome.
Thanks for being here, PvP. The more the merrier. And thank you, Jill, for clarifying that. Now I have to show Todd Michael that there are two Isaac the bartender.
Oh my. Is this like a multiple timeline thing with two bartenders?
Well, that's
no.
Okay.
Oh,
let's avoid that topic.
Yeah, no, there's such a thing as recasting, and that's a thing that occurs in the real world with production. And this has even though we are watching Quantum Leap, it has nothing to do with the Love Boat. There was just another thing that happened on the Love Boat, which you can hear all about next week on our new podcast, The Love Boat.
So Sam never actually
is that also known as Star Trek: The Next Generation?
It is also known as Star Trek: The Next Generation. Captain Infinity says, "Oh, the TV movie only." Of course, you had to say multiple timelines, and Captain Infinity's like, "Wait a second, I believe I could be of some assistance."
Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, he never jumped onto the Love Boat though during the Quantum Leap series, did he?
Not that I know of. I think the only crossover that was even hinted at was possibly going on to Magnum PI, but it never occurred.
That would have been interesting.
A couple of other notable actors that I recognized, one of which is Ken Forey, who plays Eddie's sidekick, the man who roughs up Grady near the end of the episode. And he is best known from Dawn of the Dead, the original. He played Peter, the cop, in Dawn of the Dead, which is fantastic. And then also,
in this episode, he murders Alberta.
Murders?
No, it's a pull cue.
Yeah, he busts up Alberta.
I know. I just wanted to be dramatic. I'm sorry.
No, I understand.
That was nasty though when he busted up the pool cue. That peed me off.
Yeah, but we will get there.
We will get there. And then also J.W. Smith, who plays Eddie, the man with the marker who is trying to take control, has been in a few of my favorite movies. He played Turnbull AC in The Warriors from 1979.
Oh, I love that film.
Wait, which actor are we talking about now?
Eddie, the man who ends up playing
Eddie, the loan shark.
The loan shark. He plays Salim in Red Heat, the Arnold Schwarzenegger Jim Belushi action movie, which is really good, underrated because of Jim Belushi. And then he plays a pimp in K9, where again Jim Belushi is a cop, but that time he teams up with a dog, hence the name K9, and the dog's name is Jerry Lee. So that is those are the people that I recognize from this, and I was so excited when I saw Ken Foree. And for the record, he was also in the remake of Dawn of the Dead, the Zack Snyder film, and he played a television preacher. So Sam is, and I thought this was a great interaction because Al shows up, and Sam says, "Let's go," and he's like, "Really, the head?" Every time you leap, the first place we got to go is the bathroom so we can talk. Can't we go anywhere else except the men's room? And Al says, can't we go to the ladies' room? And so, no, they don't.
No, they can't.
No, not this time.
I imagine the ladies' room is probably much nicer too.
There.
At least I imagine it is. I've never actually been in one, but
neither have I. And here we go. Finity says, I was going with Parallel Universe until Jill stepped in. Oh, but it's just a matter of casting, my friend. So Violet is the songstress and owner of the club. And she does have a pool table specifically for her grandfather. The only reason that it is there is for Charlie. Black Magic.
Right. She's turned the pool hall into a nightclub.
A blues club.
Excuse me.
Yes. And so this is, I like the interactions here because there is reverence from the younger generation to the older and the legend that is black magic.
Yeah. It's like everybody recognizes him, once he's identified as this, this legendary person. Like everybody's like totally in awe of him, right?
Especially even Al.
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, except for the the guy playing the villain.
And of course, Al is an expert pool player. And what's really cool is that Dean Stockwell also plays billiards quite well. And Dean and Scott have played together.
Wow, I didn't realize that. That's cool.
That is really cool.
He knows that the Magic's pool cue is named Alberta.
I thought that was a nice little Canadian reference there.
Yes.
Alberta. I don't know if it was meant to be a Canadian reference, but it's pretty obvious if you're a Canadian, where Alberta is. So,
and
yeah. Sorry, Joe.
Me too. The reason that Al knows magic is because when he was a kid in the orphanage, he tried to pick Magic's pocket, and instead of turning him in to the police, he mentored him to be a better person and also wanted to help him find a family. But unfortunately, he was busted playing pool in a whites only pool hall, and Al ended up in an orphanage as a result.
Oh wow.
He ended up back. Well, no, it happened.
It says it in the episode.
Oh, okay. Somehow I missed that.
I want the vest. I want the shirt. I want the tie.
But it was very convenient that Al was so familiar with this guy. Well, but it was a lucky thing for Sam.
It's the expansion of Al's character as well, because we're only in the second season, and it is part of, you learn more about Al's backstory than you do Sam's, because Sam does have the Swiss cheese brain.
Yes, and the important thing, one of the things that we failed to mention in the last episode is that Hilly was also an orphan, and that was how Al was on her side.
Yes.
Right.
And that's come up a lot.
Al's character was I thought his character was really expanding in these 2 episodes, and he's really becoming a very interesting character, actually.
Well, and as he is both Sam's guide and the audience's guide in terms of what's going on.
And he's so, like literally Sam's lifeline in a way too, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
without Al, Sam would be lost.
Yeah, in time.
Yeah, literally.
And there will be episodes that we will get to that are like, without Al, where is Sam? And but we will get there when we get there. But right now, meanwhile, back in Chicago.
Yeah, the more Al you get, the better.
Yes.
It's basically the end of that story.
There's a doozy coming up. But yeah, so we find out that the reason that Sam is leapt into black magic is so that he can beat Eddie at a pool game, so that Violet can maintain the Blues Club, which will, happily ever after. Otherwise, he's a slimy devil. He'll probably take advantage of Violet and own the club.
That's right.
Yeah, well, he wants to. I mean, that comes up later on, right?
Well, he's got a thing for Violet, and Violet had to go to a loan shark to get the money because of what we will find in terms of the prejudice of loans and banking in the 1950s.
Right, the bank. Violet says that the bank is out because they already tried that, and because they turned him down because of racism and sexism put together. But Sam still wants to try again.
And so he says, "Where's the bank?" And Grady says, "Across the street."
Across the street. Yeah, that was funny. It's like, hey, you never been in this neighborhood before, Pops?
Well, and even the shake to reality that Sam gets from Al, because Sam says, "Well, the stupid thing is," and Al says, "Besides you," because he's like, "Are you serious? You're going to go try in 1950? Is this 54?
54, I think. I think it was 54 at the start.
57 was the last one. This one is 54, September 4th. Yes. And so they go across the street and experience the racism from the lady at the counter and says, "You better go to the back and you can talk to one of our loan officers back there," after being told that all the loan officers are busy.
They're busy.
Yeah.
But this lady is doing her makeup. He's reading his newspaper. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that was hilarious. It's like, what is Sam's line? Well, it doesn't look like they're busy, or whatever he tells to the lady at the front desk. That was great. Puts her in her place pretty fast.
Well, yeah, I suppose. And the only, as luck would have it, this is the only black, or the first black loan officer in this particular bank. I was going to use the vernacular of the episode, but I don't think that I'm allowed to do that, so I won't.
Yeah, I was shocked.
No, what she said is perfect.
I'm not going to say it, but I was shocked when they used that word. I mean, I couldn't believe it was on my ears. It was like, what?
It's not the first time that it's happened.
Right. It happened in The Color of Truth.
Yes.
Wow. Boy, that's brave stuff. I mean, you'd never get that on TV now.
No, I don't think
think so.
Man, we've regressed, haven't we? In the last 30 years.
Right. Like Ahura says in the one episode, we've learned not to be fearful of words.
Yeah, now we're fearful of them again.
But again, it is in the context of this story, no matter when it was, and it is, I agree with both of you guys that this is, you use those words. If you use words to pack a punch, there's a reason that those words were used, and it drives home the prejudice that was at the time.
I think it depends how a word is used too, though.
Well, yeah, if you want to use a word to cut to the quick, then you use the word that will cut to the quick. If I happen to say something harsh to you, it's probably because I want a reaction that will be achieved by my harsh words.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what is presented here in the drama.
Yeah, well, any derogatory term is derogatory because it's derogatory.
But and if I say it to be derogatory, then I obviously used it for a reason. And so when people say that words are violence, I highly disagree. Words are used selectively to achieve a certain level of communication. And if that communication is abrasive, it was probably chosen to be abrasive.
True.
So yeah. But
yeah,
this is
that was a bit of a shocking moment though in the episode. It's like, but it makes perfect sense in the context of the story, right? So
yes, and so Charlie and Violet are here to get a loan, and he sees it. He says that pool halls and blues clubs are not sound businesses, but Sam says that the club is making money, and Miss Violet needs a loan, and was forced to get a loan shark because of not because of the prejudice. And this is where Griffin points out that he's the first black loan officer, indicating that, I guess he's afraid, he's fearful of losing all he's worked for and struggled to achieve. He had to struggle twice as hard as everybody else to get where he's gotten. And Sam agrees with that part, but Sam tells him, maybe it took you twice as long, but you've made it. And being the first bears some responsibility to those who are trying to make it behind you.
That was a great line. I love that line. That was great.
However, if I were in that gentleman's shoes and two people came in and said, "Can I have a loan so I can pay off a loan shark?" And he clearly says that he has to go before a loan committee to recommend the loan, and then based on something that isn't necessarily as stable as a restaurant, which is like a blues club is basically, it would be a bar or a restaurant, and it's formerly a pool hall, it wouldn't be a stable investment. And so I do understand the animosity between these characters, or at least the difficulties that would be thrown.
But he didn't even ask to see a business plan. He didn't ask to see the profits that have been procured thus far. He didn't even give it any kind of time of day.
I think the reason he didn't, though, Jill, is because in the context of 1954, I think, a blues club would have probably been seen as a somewhat seedy establishment back in those days, especially if it was, run by people of color, so to speak, right? So, and also, since, as, mentioned, he was the first loan officer of, his color to be working at that bank. And he was probably, afraid, if he actually stuck his neck out a bit to help these people, that he was going to be reprimanded, right? So,
but as you said, what Charlie says, you have a responsibility to the people who follow you.
I agree.
To achieve success, and so I understand both sides of it. Although I'm disappointed in the loan officer, as I've always been.
I could understand his fear,
sure,
right? So I kind of thought it was a very nicely balanced scene.
So it was realistic.
So the only alternative is that we have to play some pool.
Yeah, no, failing at getting a loan, Miss Violet thinks that the only way she can keep the club is to start a relationship with Eddie, which is really, really sad. So you're skipping the sad part.
Yeah.
She's pretty convinced that Magic can't play well enough anymore because he's making all of these motions. He's pretty much convincing her that he's lost his eyesight or something.
Well, people keep saying, and early in the episode, they say your eyes look different. And I don't know if that means that they look cloudy or...
I thought about that.
Yeah, and so it could be, there could be some visual representation of the fact that he is losing his eyesight, and that's also something that Al brings up, and it's like, hey, Magic may have bad eyesight, but luckily you got 20/20, which brings us to the physical attributes of the person that Sam leaps into. Does he possess them? And as we move forward, and we're still, I don't know, because he's gonna end up being a monkey.
Oh.
The thing I wondered about is when they mentioned his eyes look different.
You have more of a forward insight to these episodes. I only have all of the
what we've
episodes
seen.
And
I've
what
only
we've
seen.
So I've never seen the monkey episode.
He becomes a monkey? Wow.
Yes.
And in a science the science research episode or something later.
We'll get there.
That's radical. But I just wanted to mention the comment about the eyes being different. I wondered, could it be that somehow it was maybe Sam's eyes since he leapt into this other person? Maybe there was a combination of both their eyes that people were picking up on just subtly.
We've already established in terms of the leaps that we've had throughout the episodes that we've watched that the only people who are cognizant of any differences between the leapy and Sam are animals and children because of their innocence.
Innocence, right? Okay, got it. I was just wondering,
Yeah,
the children are in an alpha state.
Yes, and so Eddie starts perving on Violet, but Violet's looking all smoking hot.
She's
she was
encouraging it because she thinks this is the only way she can keep her dream.
And so he is.
So
thankfully, Sam comes in and says, "You keep your hands off my granddaughter."
That was a nice moment.
Mm.
Well, and oh man, there is a beatdown that is epic. So, but yeah, so. Recognizing that the only way that Eddie's going to get his money is by, and what he wants to do is to be able to take down the great black magic, is to play him in pool, and the marker isn't due until tomorrow, so we'll deal with it then. At which point Eddie shows his prowess on a pool table, and yeah, those are some skills, because I know it's difficult to tell in the still frames, but there's English going on and double taps happening on the. Oh wait, there's a production thing, because we do see the mirror of the back of Black Magic playing pool, and he's not holding the pool cue like a cigar as Al recommended.
Well, that's because this is Sam.
Oh right, he's just starting. This is before he's actually started. That's cool then. My mistake. I stand corrected. Thank you for doing that.
But I do like the mirror. The mirror stuff is getting more creative.
Yes. And so Violet is at the piano and wondering
why
Sam is. Yeah, man.
Wow. Oh my God, that is a jacket and a half. Wow.
Yes, and I want it.
Yeah, it's
and
nice.
So
like
Violet is. Who are you talking to, Pappy? Poppy. And he's like, just practicing. And so we're trying to figure out how to do the stroke of the pool cue. And where to hit the ball. And then Al says, we've got to learn geometry and the banks. And I thought you would appreciate the mathematics of the Pythagorean theorems and whatnot, Pythagoras and the banks and the geometrics. And
yeah, at this particular point, Al shows him not to be too stiff with the cue, but after the singing part, he does talk about the geometry of pool. And it would have been neat if they could have shown Sam doing this with just his knowledge, figuring out the geometry on his own in his brain. But I'm glad that they didn't, because it's fun to see Sam not be perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, I imagine it would take more than an hour or two to figure that all out anyway, though.
Well, and Al says
Al
says it'll take years to figure out those kinds of banks and where to hit it, how hard to hit it. But in terms of the bingo card that we've been looking at from time to time, we get Sam singing and playing piano, and Violet says, if I live to 100. Oh, wait. Hey, and you're right on time. Dalek, have you passed the singing scene? Nope. Here you go. Sam at a piano with his granddaughter, or Charlie's granddaughter. And
that was a great scene. Was he actually singing?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. He's had a good voice. Wow.
Scott Bakula is a song and dance man. He's done some of his earliest roles were on stage.
Really?
And he also did an episode where he played, he leapt into an actor who was performing Man of La Mancha.
Cool. Wow. Yeah, I thought, man, he's got a really good voice in this episode. I was impressed.
And I was wondering, what song is this? Well, in this episode, Scott Bakula really loves to sing in these episodes, and he was happy to write a song, and he wrote this song.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
It sounded like an old 50s, blues song of some kind. Wow, he's a good songwriter then too. Wow.
And I was under. I kind of thought that this would be sort of the anachronistic. He would sing a song like a Beatles song or something, and Violet would. Where did you learn that? But no, I did.
No Beatles back then, though.
Well, that's the thing. He's coming from the future and going into the past, and so there are times like there was when he went to go and try and get the loan. He does say to the loan officer, "But the club is happening." Like, and the loan officer says, "What do you mean happening?" And point. So it's future references, and sometimes those anachronisms.
Yeah, I couldn't find the etymology of using happening as a slang, so that's why I didn't mention that one. But that is a good point.
Happening probably would have been 60s, I'm guessing.
I was thinking 70s.
No, I remember hearing happening back in the 60s, I'm pretty sure, as a kid. I mean, like they were having, the hippies were having like happenings or whatever they called them, I believe, right? It was like,
I suppose.
It was like a term for, kind of I guess a cool scene, so to speak.
I will stand. I will stand with your personal experience.
Hey, I was a kid, so maybe I'm just, maybe I'm imagining it, but it seems like that was a word back in the day. So This is cool.
Well, and if you've ever played a pool game on any computer or video game system or mobile device, this is exactly the video game that you're playing, with the line and the bank shots that you have to make in any video game that is a billiards game.
Yeah, I loved Al's little lines here. That was cool.
All right. So I'm going to tell the first of the pool stories. One night, a friend of mine came over and we had some hallucinogenics and we watched Death Race with David Carradine. And then we went down to the bar and we played pool. And that night, based on my heightened senses, let's say, I could see geometry. It was the best night ever. I had never played pool so well in my life.
Wow.
That's pretty incredible. So you had Ziggy.
I did. I had Ziggy brain, and I probably was inspired by this.
Oh, you had seen the episode
by that point. I think this would have been probably about 2003, 2004, and I saw this probably right around the time that it came out, if not on the actual air date, then one of the reruns during Quantum Leap's original run.
Yeah, so Al found a way to get Ziggy to help with the angles.
That was cool.
It is. It's pretty great. And it's never come back for you? That geometry mindset?
Oh, I haven't had the hallucinogens, so.
Oh, right. Well, but actually, once you've had it, though, it kind of sticks with your. It's not like you hallucinate ever, but.
No, but this specifically, this time specifically that I'm referring to, this was what I was looking at. Like, so it was definitely, yeah. And also, lemon pie, it is a possibility that I was hallucinating that I played well. It's true.
That's a good one.
And I do agree, Doc. This is super cool. It's rad. It's happening.
It probably depends on the type of hallucinogenic that you took, too, I would think.
Well, usually I'm free with my recreational botanical references, but I don't know what the legality is of the.
Oh, no. I'm not saying specify. I'm just saying, some things probably come back to haunt you a little more strongly than other things might.
No, it wasn't acid, if that's what you're asking.
Not that I know. I mean, I'm hardly, pharmaceutical, partaker, but anyway.
So Eddie says, "What's your game?" And Magic says, 8-ball. And Eddie
9-ball.
9-ball. And Eddie says 9-ball's a lucky man's game. And so Grady pulls the sheet, the silk cover off of the pool table and says, "It's already racked for 9-ball." And it's a lucky man's game. It's always.
It's always been Magic's favorite, and it also Rags, the real life pool player's favorite game, was 9-ball. And I've always just played normal pool, so I've had to look up what this kind of pool is. And apparently, you have to sink the balls in numerical order to win.
Yes.
Okay. Makes sense, I guess. Yeah.
And using Ziggy, Sam is able to compete with Eddie on an even basis. And we have the sports ball, but fun in fun form kind of thing. But you'd have to watch this episode to really have fun watching it, because it's a very active scene.
Oh, absolutely. There again, it's a huge montage, and they go for the I forget what he calls it, but this is a thing to see who breaks. You tap the ball from one end of the table, and the person who gets it closest to the bumper is the person who breaks. And so Al, giving the directions via Ziggy, pretty much tells Sam how to hit it, where to hit it, and it's working like a charm. In fact, I think he sinks the 9 ball on the first break, which is an instant win. Happens in 8 ball as well. And so it's 6-5. And then it does end up getting all tied up at 6. And that's when Ziggy craps out. Unfortunately, the hologram is it's losing power. He has no idea what's going on.
Well, no, he knows the Pentagon is usurping the power.
Well, yeah, he has to.
Didn't he say they were planning their vacations or something?
He has to go and find out what's going on with the power drain. And he says, just stall for a while. And that's when we have the tragedy of Alberta.
Yeah, that scene made me mad.
Yes, at first it seemed like Eddie was going to try to have Magic killed, but what he really meant was Alberta. Because what is King Arthur without his Excalibur?
Exactly. And everyone is under the impression that that Magic has been talking to Alberta when he's been talking to Al.
That is a good cover act.
It is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So Grady starts talking to Alberta as well, and it's a cute little exchange saying, "You don't mind if I talk to you like Magic does, do you?" "Oh, I won't say anything offside." And so it's really cool.
Yes. Yeah, everything Grady does is awesome in this episode.
So then the Brush goes to Grady and says, Magic wants to talk to you in the alley. And he's like, I thought he went to the bathroom. Nope, he's in the alley. And so Grady goes out looking for Magic, and Brush comes out and says, he's in the bathroom, you know. And so he's like, I know. And then Brush roughs him up. Kind of like a big man who is roughing up an old man. So it's not much of a fight. It's more of just pushing him down and taking the pool cue.
I thought he was a real coward to do that, really. Attacking an old guy, you know, it's just not right.
Yeah, and of course, Sam goes to him first, and Grady tells him to get the pool cue.
Yeah. And so Sam says, just give me the cue. And Brush says, yep. And he breaks it over his knee and says, oh, I guess I should have unscrewed it first. And so he gives the broken pieces to Sam, and Sam does some like double stick tie bow beat down and does a wicked cool little flourish at the end.
Yeah, because Brush thinks he's just dealing with another old man, so he could just beat up these old men. But Sam shows him better.
Yeah, it was nice when Sam kicked his butt. That was great.
Oh, it was fantastic. And then he does almost like an Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber swirl with it. It was great.
It was fun, yeah.
And so they head back in. Al's not there, but they're still going and stalling, and says, and it's like, so are you going to play? And he says, Grady, get me a stick. And so Grady goes and gets his stick, and the name is Bathsheba. Yeah, and
I can't pronounce it right. I'm sorry, Grady.
Bathsheba.
Makes sense. Sounds good.
I don't know.
And so now, just as Sam is on his last leg of being able to draw out this pause in play, something flickers back to life. And so this is where Al says the Pentagon has drawn the power, and we only have 2 more minutes. So let's get this all done. So he does. He gets everything except for the 9, and the 9 And this is, oh my God, this shot against the bumper down to the pocket, such a difficult shot. You got to hit it in the perfect place or else it's going to bounce right out and it goes in. But it is hanging on the lip of the pocket, right where you cannot go straight ahead, because if you went straight ahead, you'd hit the bumper and mess up the shot. So you do have to do, oh my God, my favorite shot in pool.
Okay. And yeah, and in this shot, he almost gets a scratch, but he doesn't. So that would have been bad.
And so this, and Lemon, this is the shot that I did over and over again in most pool halls whenever I went. Not a coin table, because if you get a coin table, once you sink the ball, you can't practice that much. But if you get one that is, you get the pool balls from the bartender, which is most of the pool halls that I've gone to, you bring them to the table, you can play with as much as you want. And oh my, and I'm sorry, PvP. I know that you're PvP, but I was talking to Lemon just in terms of this is what I saw on my night of hallucinogenics. And I know Lemon is very invested in me being all effed up on goofballs.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. This was quite, I mean, you sound like you're a real pool shark there, Scotty. So you pool halls a lot, did you?
Yes. It's how I cultivated my my winning personality.
I used to hang out in pool halls when I was a teenager too. Sometimes me and my friends would go and play pool for a while. Yeah. But I mean, you sound like you're way more skilled than I ever was.
Well, if we ever meet in Alberta, because I think that's the halfway point between, we should get together for a pint and some pool.
Sure. That'd be fun. Probably Saskatchewan would probably be closer to the halfway point, but hey, who's going to count, right?
I'm not good at geography.
I'm just happy to play. I don't have to win.
Lemon says, what's happening originated in the 1950s among Black Americans, according to the Random House Dictionary of American Slang. Oh, okay. Well, then.
Well, that loan officer should have known it then.
Maybe he found the use of the phrase a little offside when going to a bank to ask for a loan, to say that our blues club is happening. Can you please give us money to pay off the loan shark?
Yeah, right. Sam did deliver it very straight.
Yes.
He could have been a real square guy too that never heard the phrase. You know, it's not like every black person is going to know every phrase.
Exactly.
You know,
he's probably a banker. He's probably an accountant or something.
Yeah, his parents were probably bankers, and you know, it's probably a rich family.
Bankers are quite
bunch of snobs. Yeah, they're probably all squares.
Yeah. Well, and well, and especially in this day and age, I shouldn't say squares. My grandfather was a banker.
Okay, I love that shot there. Was that you, Jill, doing that?
Yeah.
Oh,
of course
you.
It's me. I'm glad you like that.
That was great. That was very good. That villain's a really an ugly looking dude, isn't he?
Oh, well, and he's a menacing. He can be charming and menacing, and that's in the from the Warriors to Red Heat.
I'll have to watch the Warriors again. I don't remember them, but I love that film. That's a great
dude. Check out. You've got to see Red Heat. It's one of Schwarzenegger's early ones, but it is so good. It is so good.
So does he play a baddie in that too, or?
Yes, he does.
Okay, makes sense.
And so then there is a. What happens here? They don't fight.
No, they don't fight. He says that she wants him to leave, and he gives up the marker for the club, and so the club is saved. Eddie goes away, happy ending.
And she says, "I don't ever want to see your ugly face again," or something, which is great. That was a great line.
Oh man,
it was a great episode. Actually, I like this one more than the first one, kind of, because this one was more fun.
And then we get
God.
So Violet says to
Scary. This is
Poppy.
Scary.
If I live to be 100, you'll never cease to amaze me. But Sam finishes the sentence, but leaps out halfway through, and then he finds himself upside down on a flying trapeze.
Yeah, I would not want to find myself doing that.
That's the beauty of Quantum Leap. He has, no choice. And so, that'll be next week. I think it's called Without a Net. I'm not sure. Let me see. But that'll be next week.
That would make sense.
When,
or maybe out on a line, out in a wire. I don't know.
Leaping in without a net.
Oh, that sounds good.
season 2, episode 19, and season 2, episode 20, maybe a baby. And so that will be next week.
I noticed when I was watching the episodes online earlier today, like, wow, we're just about through season 2, aren't we now?
Oh yeah, and that's we're trying to breeze through as much as possible so we can get through it and enjoy them as quickly as possible. I didn't want to take up too much of Jill's time, but I did want to revisit this, and luckily it was something that Jill wanted to play with. So thank you again for being.
It's getting better and better.
Oh yeah,
that much.
I thought these 2 episodes this week were quite a bit better than the ones last week. I mean, not that the ones last week were bad, but these were just really, really great, I thought. So,
Absolutely. And I'm never going to have anything negative to say about Pool Hall Blues. And I really appreciate the first steps towards sort of Sam's independence in the leaping that occurs in the previous episode, which I forget the title of every time I try and think of it.
Yeah, I can't remember it now either.
The first episode might have been more complex in the storyline, but both were just as charming.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. The first one was more complex because it was basically a whodunit, right? So
yeah.
Whereas the Pool Hall one was pretty straightforward. You got to win the game to basically save the day. So.
Well, and the one flourish at the end that I really appreciate, there's the great montage that happens in terms of the games that are played between Eddie and Magic. But at the end, when we forgot to mention that the power from the Pentagon is cut again because they only had 2 minutes. And so Sam has to do the final shot without the use of the laser beams. And so he does the shot without them, and he makes them. And it is a slow motion victory sports movie moment from the end of any person who is hitting a home run in the 9th or dropping the golf ball on the green. It's fantastic.
I love the suspense in that final shot. Like the way he was just banking the ball, one off for, I guess, basically four corners or, 4 sides or whatever it was banking off of. But it was so suspenseful. I thought that was great. And I mean, he did it on his own, right?
And thank you for remembering.
Makes it even better, right? Sam did it. He finally did it. He learned, from Al, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think that there's a lot. Yeah. The relationships in both episodes, relationships between Sam and Al, and just fills my heart. So I'm glad we're not grading these because I'm just going to say that every single one of these is an A+.
And that's why it's so great that we do these reviews together, because anything that I forget, you remember.
I try. And when it comes to the historical context, Jill, your research is second to none. And thank you, PvP, for providing the research for Stonewall.
Yeah, well, I just remembered it. I mean, it's not like I'm an expert or anything, but I remember years ago hearing about it, and it was kind of a turning point, for gay rights, for people kind of standing up for themselves and saying we're not going to be treated like this anymore, in a discriminatory way. So, because I guess there was probably a lot of police brutality and, that kind of stuff going on back then. So.
Right. And yeah, I'm never an expert. I'm always researching.
Can I take a quick bathroom break here, guys? If we got,
we're actually going to be wrapping up.
Okay, I'll stay. I'm okay.
Okay. Dalek says, OMG, that episode. Sam has to do a trapeze act, and it's hell for him because we find out he's afraid of heights. Spoilers.
Geez. Oh gosh.
No, that's great, man. Dalek, that is fantastic. And again,
that's not too bad of a spoiler.
That's not too bad.
That's just characterization stuff. I love it when Sam gets more complex.
Yeah. And Dalek, if it's not too late, or if you're comfortable at the time, the wee small hours of the morning next week, if you want to come by and talk about it, you're more than welcome, sir, as always. Thank you for being here, PvP.
Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, cheers, man. Again, if you want to join us for a conversation on one or both of the episodes, all you got to do is watch one or both of the episodes. And PvP, where can people find your lovely soul on the interwebs?
Well, my Pleasant Valley pleasantvalleypicker.ca is my handle on here on YouTube. So yeah, I mean, you could always put a link in if you want to there, Scotty, because I don't have any mod powers on here. So, but I mean, I'm sure probably most of the people here have probably figured out where I am by now anyway, actually. So, because I mean, it's, pretty much a lot of us, same folks on the chats all the time. So,
Well, still, it's nice to, there you are.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, and don't forget the poll.
Oh, right.
I forgot about our haircut.
Those polls are so easy
I
to
forgot
forget.
to really pay attention to Tom Paris's haircut.
So does Tom Paris have a weird haircut? With 5 votes, the answer is yes, with 80%, and 1 no. So 4 out of 5 haircut fans cannot be wrong. Thank you so much for providing. There is PvP's YouTube link in the chat.
Thank you, Scotty.
Oh, my pleasure, sir. And then I will get Jill, where do people find you, and what do you do? What is your thing? What's your jam on the internet?
Well, my jam right now is I'm trying to get through all the movies and TV show things that I haven't seen yet and learn as much about them as I can. But specifically, I'm focusing on science fiction at the moment. Right now, I'm going through reviews of the original series Star Trek. So, Star Trek. And on Tuesdays.
Sci-fi. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jill. Sorry.
And I also review other things. I've reviewed all of the Orville so far. If there's more Orville, I'll look at it. I don't know. I might have to look at it on Fridays. I don't know. But, that'll come when if it comes. Probably won't.
Did it get renewed?
I don't know. No, it didn't get renewed.
Oh, darn.
But I also review UFO, and I'll be doing that on Friday. This Friday, I'll review another episode of UFO. Sometimes on Fridays, I'll review a movie, and sometimes just an episode of something.
So that's tomorrow. Which episode are you going to have tomorrow, Jill?
I forget the name of the episode, but
oh, darn,
some kind of affair.
Oh, geez, I'll have to try and find it. I want to watch it beforehand because I like to always watch the episode that's going to be featured.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, thank you, Jill. That's awesome.
And let's see, what do I do? I'm usually hanging out here at the Fantasmagorium show every Wednesday. My friend Kat and I have been going through the Batman movies. Last night, we ended up doing Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which was fantastic. And we had a great conversation with Daniel's Hot Topics about the nature of the DC extended universe, as well as discussing the majesty that is Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, Bruce Timm, and Andrea Romano. We're going to be talking about the animated Batman Hush next Wednesday, but we've covered all the Tim Burtons, all the Joel Schumachers, or should I say both of both. And we did Batman 66. Also, if you're interested in any of the James Bond movies, we reviewed all of them, and we took an interesting journey through all of the directed works of Quentin Tarantino, as well as some detours into things that he was in or wrote. And so if you're a fan of any of that, please feel free. The playlists are right here. And then all 3 of us are typically reviewing the original series of Star Trek on Jill's channel. And I go with Jill over to Pop Culture Curator's channel to review the animated series. And sometimes I show up and offend people on Fridays because I don't know anything about UFO.
Well, that's okay. I'll show you. And I actually don't, on Fridays, I don't do scene by scene reviews. It'll just be general. Here's the episode. But I will have all the slides.
Gotta have the slides.
Yeah. So Lemon Pie says, Jill, is that going to be a TOS one tomorrow? No, I do my TOS reviews on Tuesday. Tomorrow will be UFO, and then just some random science topics or whatever I find on the internet.
But if you are interested in watching along with the original series episode, next week's episode is Return of the Archons.
Oh, I like that one. That's a good one.
Are you of the body?
Is that
No,
the first...
nothing.
Is that...
I thought everybody knew this. What is that? Oh my God. I heard someone on the
first?
internet call it Archons, and I was like, get off my boat.
Uh-oh.
But that'll be Tuesday. But as for tonight's show, thank you, everybody who was here. Thank you to Edge of Time. Thank you to Dalek. Thank you to Captain Infinity.
Yes. And for anybody still here, Clobberin Times is having his clubhouse right now with on his channel. So check out Clobberin Times if you're still wanting to hang around.
And Lemon Time, and thank you, PvP, for being here and always. Oh, and thanks, Matt G. It was a pleasure to see you drop in. I hope you dropped a like. I hope that you subscribed and rang the bell and shared and told your friends and all that jazz. Are we good? Are we good? Are we done?
I guess.
Is it over?
Well, I had a pool hall story that I mentioned earlier that I was going to tell, but if you want to wrap it up, that's okay too.
I thought you had to go to the bathroom.
Oh, I forgot about that.
If you'd like to tell your pool, if you'd like to tell your pool hall story, I suppose I told mine and Jill told hers. So yes, sir.
Just real quick.
You have the cue.
Back in the 70s when I was a teenager, there was a friend of mine who was, a cool guy, but he had a friend who all of my friends, all of us kind of hated this guy, right? He was just kind of a bit of a dick. He's really arrogant kind of guy. So I remember one time we were at the pool hall and this guy, I don't know, for some reason, I was mediocre at pool at best, right? I mean, I was no pool hustler by a long shot, but this guy basically challenged me to a game, right? And I don't know what it was that night. I guess maybe I was so annoyed with this guy. I just kind of hated him so much. I basically, just cleaned the table.
Nice.
Like I think he got like maybe 1-2 shots in the whole game. I just basically annihilated him, and it was like, yes. So
awesome.
that was my one great moment of pool glory. But other than that, I was pretty mediocre. So.
Well, hey, it's always nice when you can run a table against someone that you want to defeat on the felt.
Exactly. Yeah, it was very satisfying. I was playing against someone I definitely didn't like their company of. So, yeah, that was good.
Well, and PvP, considering you are our guest, would you like to say, you've seen, how at the beginning of every episode when Sam leaps into or at the end of every episode where Sam leaps into someone new, he has his catchphrase. He says, "Oh boy," as he is startled by who he has leapt into. That has been our sign off. Did you want to say the sign off today?
So, oh boy.